The 1972 United States 1-cent coin, more commonly known as the Lincoln Memorial Cent, holds a special place in American numismatic history. This coin was struck at a time when the United States was still using the classic copper composition for pennies, just a few years before the transition to a copper-plated zinc planchet in the 1980s. The 1972 penny was produced at 3 different mints: Philadelphia with no mint mark, Denver with the D mint mark, and San Francisco with an S mint mark. The obverse side of this coin features the iconic bust of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner back in 1909 to commemorate the centennial of Lincoln's birth. This design had already been in use for over 60 years by the time the 1972 coin was minted, and it remained unchanged until the Lincoln bicentennial designs in 2009. On the reverse side, the coin displays the Lincoln Memorial, a design introduced in 1959 to celebrate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. If you look closely at the reverse under magnification, you can even see the tiny image of the Lincoln statue between the pillars of the memorial. A subtle but fascinating detail for collectors. In terms of composition, the 1972 Lincoln Cent is made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, giving it a weight of 3.11 grams and a diameter of 19 millimeters. The edges are smooth, without reading. This heavy copper content gives these older pennies a distinctive feel and tone compared to modern pennies, which are primarily zinc and much lighter in weight. In fine condition, the coin will still have visible details of Lincoln's hair and face, though some high points may show wear, and the reverse will retain most of its structural details even if the finer lines are slightly worn. One of the most notable aspects of the 1972 penny's history is the famous 1972 double die obverse error. This variety shows strong doubling in the inscriptions "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," as well as in the date itself. These double die coins are highly sought after by collectors and can be worth hundreds, sometimes thousands, of dollars depending on condition. While the standard fine condition 1972 penny without errors is quite common and generally worth only a few cents over face value due to its copper content, the double die variety dramatically changes the coin's value. Even in circulated fine condition, the double die 1972 penny can sell for well over $100 to the right buyer. From a production standpoint, the mintage numbers for the 1972 penny were massive. The Philadelphia Mint alone produced over 2.9 billion coins, Denver struck more than 2.6 billion, and San Francisco added nearly 380 million proofs and business strikes combined. Because of these huge mintages, finding a regular 1972 penny in circulation today is not rare. However, finding one in fine condition that still has good color and minimal damage can still be satisfying for collectors, especially for those building date and mint mark sets. When it comes to the value of a 1972 penny in fine condition, a regular coin without errors will usually be valued at about 2 to 5 cents due to its copper content, since the melt value of copper has increased over the years. It's worth noting that melting US cents for their metal is illegal, but the intrinsic value does give them a little premium. Proof versions from San Francisco, especially if preserved well, can be worth a few dollars. The big money, however, is in those error coins. The 1972 double die obverse, even in fine circulated condition, can be worth between $100 and $200, while higher grade uncirculated examples can fetch much more. Collectors often recommend checking all 1972 pennies carefully under magnification, because there are actually several minor double die varieties for that year, though only the strongest one, known as FS101, commands major value. In addition to doubling, coins may also have mint errors such as off-center strikes, die cracks, or clipped planchets, which can add to the interest and value. These errors are less common but are always worth examining. Historically, the 1972 penny is also a reflection of the era in which it was minted. The early 1970s were a time of significant change in the United States from the Vietnam War to major social and cultural shifts. Coins from this era, while not drastically different in design from earlier years, still carry the atmosphere and feel of the time period. Many people who grew up in the 1970s have memories of these copper pennies filling their pockets and piggy banks. For collectors, even a common date like 1972 can be rewarding because it serves as a reminder of the enduring nature of U.S. coinage. Design. The Lincoln cent is one of the longest-running coin designs in history, and owning coins from different years is like holding a small piece of history in your hand. While your fine-condition 1972 penny may not buy you more than a stick of gum today, its true value lies in its connection to American history, its potential as a copper-based collectible, and the thrill of the hunt for rare error varieties. So, if you happen to find a 1972 US 1 cent coin in your change, or tucked away in an old jar, take a moment to inspect it closely. Look at the date, check for any doubling in the inscriptions, and note the mint mark. Even if it's just a common Philadelphia strike in fine condition, it's still a solid example of classic American coinage. And who knows, it might just turn out to be one of those rare and valuable double-die treasures hiding in plain sight. Welcome back to Worth Coin, where pocket change can hide jaw-dropping treasures and ordinary pennies can turn into once-in-a-lifetime finds. Today, we're zooming in on one coin, the 1980 United States 1 cent coin, minted in Denver. Now, on the surface, this might look like just another Lincoln cent, the kind you've seen 1,000 times before. But behind that simple copper-plated face lies a world of history, mystery, and shocking collector value that has stunned even the most seasoned coin hunters. This isn't about just finding a nice old penny, it's about uncovering the right 1980 in the right condition, with the right features, that could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yes, you heard that right. 1 cent that could sell for more than a brand new luxury car, or even a house, if it ticks the right boxes. The story begins with the Denver Mint in 1980. This was a time when pennies were still made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, giving them that rich reddish-brown tone collectors love. Over 5.1 billion of these coins were struck that year, with the D mint mark under the date, and that's what makes this hunt so fascinating. Out of billions made, only a tiny handful stand out as rare treasures. The design, of course, is classic Lincoln Memorial style. Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse, sculpted by Victor David Brenner, and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, detailed enough that under magnification you can see the statue of Lincoln inside. The reverse design was created by Frank Gasparo, and both sides have stood the test of time as iconic American coin art. But here's the catch: most of these 1980 pennies are worth face value, only a few cents for their copper. The magic happens when you find one in pristine condition, or one with an extraordinary minting error. Imagine pulling a coin from your change that's been sitting untouched for over 4 decades. Its surface is blazing with that original mint luster, not a single scratch to dull its shine. In uncirculated, mint state condition, especially graded Ms. 67 or higher, collectors have been known to pay $3,000 to $5,000, and that's just for perfection. Now, let's push it further. Certain rare die varieties and errors from 1980 can send that value into the stratosphere. We're talking double dies where the date and lettering appear doubled under magnification, off-center strikes where part of the design is missing, or broad strikes, where the coin expands beyond its normal rim. One particular 1980 penny with a dramatic double die obverse in near-perfect condition shocked the coin world when it sold for over $35,000. And here's where the real thrill comes in: even more extreme errors, like a 1980 struck on a foreign planchet, have been valued by experts in the 6-figure range. A coin like that, in gem condition, could easily push past $450,000 in a high-stakes auction. The beauty of the 1980 hunt is that these coins are still hiding in plain sight. They're not ancient relics locked away in museums. They're out there in drawers, in old coffee tins, in forgotten piggy banks. Picture this: a widow cleans out her late husband's belongings and finds a small cloth bag of coins. Inside, she spots a shiny 1980D penny with strange, doubled lettering. It's taken to a dealer, graded by a top service, and ends up selling for enough money to pay off her mortgage and send her grandchildren to college. That's the kind of life-changing potential a single coin can hold. Condition is everything. Circulated 1980D pennies in average wear might fetch only a small premium to copper scrappers, but step up to brilliant uncirculated, and you're talking hundreds. Move into certified high mint state territory with an error variety, and suddenly, you're looking at tens of thousands. Throw in the rarest errors off metal strikes, dramatic misalignments, or proof-like surfaces, and the value leaps into numbers that make jaws drop. It's why collectors check every single penny they come across, hunting for those subtle details that turn ordinary into extraordinary. The Denver Mint in 1980 wasn't known for massive numbers of dramatic errors, but the few that slipped through have become legends among coin hunters. Every time you handle a 1980D penny, tilt it under a light, check the date, examine the lettering, and inspect the rims. You could be holding a coin that, in the right collector's hands, would change your financial life overnight. The thrill is in the search. The history is in your palm. And the reward? Well, the reward could be beyond your wildest imagination. So, before you toss that penny in the tip jar or drop it in a parking meter, take a second look. That small disc of copper could be your ticket to a payday you never dreamed possible. And if you enjoyed this journey into the world of rare 1980D pennies, make sure to subscribe to Worth Coin, because the next episode might just reveal the coin that changes your life forever.